Oh, first of all, congratulations on a perfect cat and mouse thriller. I'm just like still shaking.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I'll take the congratulations for my part, but as you know, it was my wife who was the real creative force behind it, and so I'll take pride in that as well.
Is there any consternation on your part working for your wife?
Absolutely zero, and I mean, the standard joke is it's just like at home. I
Yeah.
do as directed. But to take that collaboration, and we've done, starting with her short films years ago, we've worked together many times. Well, starting with meeting as cast members of Peter Pan the musical on Broadway in
Yeah.
1991. We've collaborated for a long time in different ways. So no, there's no qualms about going back to collaborate with her again.
Yeah. And what a great musical that was. Was it Dorothy Hamill was in it?
It was no, it was another Olympic
Yeah.
figure skater, Kathy Rigby.
Kathy
Kathy
Rigby.
Rigby, who was a great Peter Pan, and then they had been out for a year on the road and on Broadway, and I joined, and then shortly after Michelle joined, so it was a great time.
Do you miss live theater?
I do. I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh my, I need to go back and get my dose of it because really, once I made the transition from live theater, the last Broadway show I did was another one actually Michelle and I did together. It was Laughter on the 23rd Floor, a Neil Simon play. I was in the original Broadway cast, and then for the national touring cast, Michelle joined us on that. 1995 was
Yeah.
my last full stage production. There's a possible something in the not too distant future that might get me back on stage. But once I made the transition, I really embraced being a film and television actor, and I've enjoyed the different kinds of challenges there.
Well, let's talk about Wade because you know I I have to back up by saying I love the choices that you make, and they are sometimes just I don't think of you as a character like this or whatever, but Wade seems to be something that's just I haven't seen you do. I've seen you do mean, but I've not seen you do psychotic.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it was one of those that's once you find any kind of little road into the guy's psychology or the guy's emotional state, it's such a freeing thing to play. Just a psychopath who is just like a shark. You just moving forward and surviving, and everything, literally everything else in the world is collateral damage. It was really. Uh, um, well, maybe concerningly simple for me to wrap my brain around and to play that character, but it was I got to exercise a lot of demons.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you did. I'm sure it was a cathartic kind of role, but in its simplicity, it is so deep and so. Um, I feel like I watched a modern Hitchcock film. You
Oh man, oh that's one of the lines that I'm going to repeat to my wife because as she was studying becoming a filmmaker, of course, I mean, Alfred is one of the icons.
Yeah, and her use of camera, and where it is. I mean, it just blew me away that movies like this are not made like this anymore. And the way that the film was presented, it took time to open, and it took time for
Right?
everybody.
Yeah.
And we don't get that anymore. People don't have the attention span.
Right, and that was well. That's always one of the battles, for any filmmaker. But for Michelle with this, and as she was both in the writing and shooting and editing process, was finding that happy medium between telling the story the way she wanted to tell it, not succumbing to that. Oh, everything has to be bang, 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 constantly. Don't let anybody breathe for a moment, finding the right combination of that and not making it too long and arduous. And
Exactly.
I think, yeah, the final cut is just to me the absolute perfect balance.
Yeah, as I said, it's a perfect cat and mouse, and it wouldn't be perfect if you didn't have the scene partners that you had. Isabel is just freaking amazing.
Right, Isabella Naya, yeah, yeah, who is the main mouse to my cat in the movie. and everybody, Fernanda, who plays her mother, and Alan Leach, and Olivia Simmons, our daughter, who plays her stepsister. I mean, another part of the beauty of this whole experience for me was the obviously our real family being involved together and telling this story about a blended family, and ultimately really about the power of love and the human spirit.
It is a cautionary tale, and again, I can't speak highly enough of this movie because as an old guy like me, I go back to the 60s and 50s films that were like this. And, with that kind of, Fred McMurray as the, as the
Right.
old guy. And this just brought all that back to me.
Awesome.
Um, in our final moments that we have, and God bless you for your time today. I know how busy you are.
No, it's my pleasure.
Do you ever hit the sci-fi conventions for Spider-Man and sign autographs and meet fans?
You know what? I did that one time many, many, many years ago, and I just personally, I just found it an unsatisfying and sort of odd interaction, because people are paying money,
Yeah.
for this, and when I have time, and when I'm not, with my kids or my wife or doing something, and I encounter fans, uh, I'm happy to and enjoy having little conversations and being grateful for the effect that my work has on people's lives. But in that kind of situation, it just didn't feel great to me. So the answer is mostly no.
And in our final seconds, I want to compliment you on voice work that you do. But my aunt was June Foray, the voice actress, and
Oh wow.
you are spectacular doing that. I mean, that's a hard hat to wear.
Well, and it's something like everything else, experience helps, and I was able to start out with my early voiceovers doing lower profile stuff, and learning, the specific ins and outs of how that kind of theater of the mind, as Billy West calls it, one of the great voiceover guys.
Yep.
And it's a real pleasure to have as a part of my career.
Well, J.K. Simmons, as I live and breathe, I just adore you. You're a great guy. And thank you so much for the time and have a great day.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.